Welcome back, Chicago Blackhawks fans and Rockford Ice Hogs fans. Today, we are celebrating the impending and or recent call-up of one Frank Nazar, Chicago Blackhawks first-round selection a couple of years back, a player who has been slowly but surely endearing himself more to me as time goes by. I was a fan of him in his draft year. I had the chance to do a bit of analysis on him in college for another project, and I have really enjoyed what Nazar has brought to the table. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk through a game of his, which was recently played against the Lehigh Valley Phantoms in the American Hockey League. We're going to take a look at what he brings to the game, maybe where some areas of improvement still remain for a player like Nazar. And I'm really excited to see what happens here. I'm really curious to see, because I remember watching him in the NHL last year for the limited time he was there and thought he didn't look out of place there. So hopefully he's pretty good in this game, and let's get right into it. You know the drill at this point. Nazar is number 91 in red, and let's get this show on the road. So just a quick thing to highlight right here. When I talk about players in the sense of stitching a line together and making everyone's lives a little bit easier, this is the kind of play that I'm really getting at. So Nazar is not in the frame here. He's just off the screen on the other side of the blue line here. He's just going to catch a pass here from his defenseman and just quickly perfectly time a pass to get into the neutral zone a little bit deeper here to Mr. Slaggert. It's a simple little play there, but that ability to help your defensemen support them on breakouts and get the puck at least closer to the offensive zone, that's one of the plays I'm getting at when talking about centers stitching a play together. This is another really nice play here from Nazar. Again, he's going to throw this pass behind his back. He's got lots of support to pick up the puck here, and he's dragging pressure this way, so this defenseman is swinging this way, and this is why playing with your opponents and dragging pressure around the ice can be so beneficial. So they now will probably here have a bit of a lane depending on what happens immediately after this, but just a nice sequence here that you need from your forwards these days in modern hockey. They don't quite get a scoring chance out of it, but you can see the idea behind what was going on there. Nazar overcommits a little bit here on the offensive zone exit, so he just kind of blows right past the pressure and opens a lane for this Phantoms player to get into the neutral zone. This happens not never with players, but playing with your pace a little bit more, playing with your skating ability a little bit more, and challenging a player more effectively on those exits, that it's a positive, but unfortunately there it didn't go his way. So Nazar is a guy who loves to possess the puck and try to make plays and everything, and I think he just holds onto the puck too long here. He kind of gets himself off the boards, which is kind of what you want, but he looks off a couple of options here. So, you know, he does have the opportunity to put the puck off the boards here back to his point man, kick it out, and you've got some space up here to play with, you know. But unfortunately, he tries to carry it into the slot area-ish kind of himself, turns it over, and there goes Alexis Gendron the other way. They get a pretty decent scoring chance out of it. So obviously that scoring chance wasn't his fault, but that offensive zone turnover, you know, coming out of the corners, that's not an easy thing to do. And I think most NHL teams and most really good systems would just kick that out to the point and just maintain possession. It's just a tough play to pull off when you're under double or even triple coverage like he was. So Nazar gets a primary assist here, gets himself a point, and I just wanted to highlight a couple of things on this that also go along with that. So Nazar on the defensive zone exit retrieves the puck. He faces a lot of pressure here from 16. The stronger you are, the better off you're going to be in the NHL, and he turns the puck over in the offensive zone but retrieves it himself, which is great. Gets through the pressure there, and then that's just a really nice pass. Again, you want to talk about hockey sense, you want to talk about hockey IQ, and I always say, well, what do you mean? And I think this is a really good example of a really smart playmaking forward that can play up the middle of the ice. And so Nazar, he gets through Gendron here, and then so he's drawing all of this pressure here, right? So Gendron's focused on this guy there. This guy is not much of a factor on anything. This defenseman here is not focused on this really at all. And Nazar just kicks it back out to the point, or not to the point, but to the half wall there. Quick shot on net. Goaltender probably wants to have that one back, but a goal is a goal. Nice little backhand pass there. That's not the first time we've seen him do that this game in other areas of the ice, but he's done stuff like that before in this game, and I think that just showcases a very smart pivot style player in the middle of the ice. This is just really quick, and this is one of those situations where I'm not really sure what I think of this little tiny play here. So Nazar is in a world of his own over here, right? He's not under really much of any coverage. It's a dump in. The goaltender picks it off. I feel like generally goaltenders will rim it around the boards here, and the odds of them firing the puck out to where Nazar is. That's just not a very usually good idea. So part of me thinks that Nazar should commit a little bit more to the boards here and try to cut this pass off, especially because there's no pressure, right? Number 7 is headed this way. There's nobody behind him. If he sort of cuts this puck off on the boards, then he has a lot to play with. But part of me is thinking he's staying in this lane here so that in case the puck does come here, he's a threat to cut it off and then just get a quick one on net. But I think the goalie makes the right choice and just puts it off the boards, and Nazar isn't there to really make a good effort on blocking this puck coming around the boards and getting the offensive zone turnover. I'm not being critical, but I'm more curious about what the right thing to do in a situation like that is. But just because I know what goaltenders usually do in that situation. This is at 4-on-4. Nazar gets a pretty quick chance here on a 2-on-1. Nice save there from the goaltender, but that's just a nice sense of where to go on a 2-on-1 situation, keeping in open areas. So this is just a little bit more evidence in this game that I think Nazar's strength level could use a bit more improvement over the next little while. He is still very, very young, and that's, definitely something that comes with the territory a lot of the time. But just losing this board battle, that's a bigger player he's up against, so obviously he's at a disadvantage. But he kind of spins off of 19's back and kind of puts himself out of position and allows 19 to get pretty good body positioning and kick the puck out to his partner here. So again, if you're a center, this is kind of a job you're going to have from time to time, that forechecking deep below the goal line and trying to cause offensive zone turnovers. And Nazar's very good at it with regards to using his smarts, but the strength in a few instances in this game kind of just has been a little bit less than it needs to be in order to cause those turnovers that he's nearly causing. He's involved in the play, which I would much rather than a guy who's not really involved in the play and losing those sort of close quarters battles. On this offensive zone exit, I also kind of like Nazar being a little less aggressive, looking for that offensive zone exit. We saw him really aggressively look to turn over the puck in the offensive zone earlier in the game. Obviously, some people might look at this and go, well, why isn't he just going right after this guy here and trying to challenge him or whatever? But he is imposing himself positionally and making that player make a decision, right? So this player's trying to thread the puck around him to this guy here. It doesn't work out, and it's turned over, and now they're coming the other way. So there are multiple ways of causing turnovers in various areas of the ice. And so with the way you're positioning and the way you monitor the opposing team's breakouts, you can cause turnovers without even really imposing yourself on your opponent, which, not always, but it is a way to do it. This is a great read coming up here from Nazar. They're just pinching on both sides of the net here. So Slaggert, Lehigh Valley's in a bit of trouble here. This guy needs to make a play, whether it's this way or really rifle it this way and just get the puck away from him, because you've got Nazar coming on the other side here, and they both kind of work together here and cause a turnover, and Nazar just kicks the puck right out through the slot area, or not the slot area, but medium danger through the faceoff circle right to this guy here. So quick thinking, nice turnover generation ability, lots to chew on with Nazar for sure. So this is something that I usually don't highlight a ton unless I see it a lot in a specific game for this series. Nazar's one-on-one skill, the ability to shift around and manipulate an opposing defenseman and really battle through pressure with the skill that he has, it kind of hasn't worked for him very much in this game so far, right? So here he is, he's not carrying a tremendous amount of momentum or speed into the offensive zone here. And you'll see he challenges 37 one-on-one here, and it's just too easy for 37 to knock the puck off his stick. And I've seen that with Nazar a few times in this game. Now, I've seen him do some really impressive stuff with his skill level, but these 5-on-5 close quarters game scenarios are going to happen a lot. And in this game, I can't recall a time where he's physically battled through pressure or battled through that pressure with speed or battled through that pressure with skill. He's taking on a lot on his own. It just hasn't quite worked out. Well, I was talking about his strength level earlier, and here he is just knocking 90 over in the offensive zone. They lose possession of the puck anyway, but that was fun. Coaches are going to like that. This is just, again, really smart positioning. You're a center. You're supposed to be in the middle of the ice. There's lots of room to play with. When you're in this situation, Lehigh Valley just does not have the middle of the ice covered here. And Nazar doesn't just sort of go puck hunting or anything. He lets his teammate do the work here, picks off this puck in the neutral zone. I don't know what that drawing is, but he's just going to kick it quickly out to Nazar. And Nazar just has tons of room, right? Like all of Lehigh Valley's players, if you cut the ice in half here, they are all on this side of the ice, right? There's 2 here, there's 2 here, and there are 2 going for a change off the screen here. And playing with open space, and we'll see what he does. Yeah, like really, really smart sequence here from Nazar. You know, obviously it's not the most hyper advanced thing in the world to recognize space, but it is a really important thing in hockey. Again, he's not the fastest guy in the world here. He's not the most skilled guy in the world, but he's timing things really well. Like that's a really nicely timed pass to get around 19. They get a tip on net. Those can be dangerous. So that's kind of what I like to see out of guys like Nazar. If you're not a burner, if you're not a strict power guy, if you're not a hyper skill guy, you know, that Venn diagram doesn't really overlap a tremendous amount. It doesn't mean you're bad. It just means that you have to work with what you've got. I mean, he just is a really smart player, and you have to time things right and recognize when you're facing too much pressure and when to use your line mates and how to use your line mates. And he seems to be doing that here and there here. I think that's still a bit of a work in progress for him at the pro level. I mean, he's a rookie here, so that's forgivable. That's another example, right? So I'll back up a couple of seconds here, but Nazar, again, not carrying a tremendous amount of momentum on this entry. He's got lots of coverage here, and he's got a man open here. Just shovel the puck, right? Don't try to wrestle your way through this and battle your way into the offensive zone. Shuffle it out to your partner and let Colton Dach do the rest of the work, and they get themselves a scoring chance. So that's the kind of thing I really like to see out of guys like Nazar. You know, if you're gonna have these sort of raw talent limitations at this level, play smart, right? Play selfless, enable your line mates, help your defensemen, just chip in. And I think he's doing that really, really well, far more often than not in this game. Nazar does have his opposing jersey number compadre here, number 91, under decent coverage, and he just kind of lets him get into a potential lane here. And Nazar is just a little bit late here getting to the boards and cutting this pass off. I mean, that's the only real play that 56, I think that is, has here along the boards. If he kicks it this way, he's under pressure. If he kicks it without much mustard on his pass, he's facing pressure here. So his only real option, you know, he's got sticks in the lane here, so this isn't going to happen, probably. But Nazar's just a bit late, doesn't corral the puck particularly well, and now Lehigh Valley has themselves a scoring chance. So hockey can be a situation where you're a little bit behind, you're a little bit slow, and it can penalize you, right? In just isolated situations. Your game could be great. So it's just those little things, right? Make those reads a little bit quicker, get into those lanes a little bit quicker, and generate those turnovers a little bit quicker. I'm not sure if this is a structural thing for the Rockford Ice Hogs here, but I feel like Frank Nazar takes a really smart route here to the net. You'll see him take 19 to the net and go beyond the midline of the net, so he'll cut into this area of the ice, and he'll take 91 here with him. So what you'll see is he takes 19 with him. So now what he's doing is dragging pressure with him, and this is wide open now. And note that you have this player, I think that's Landon Slaggert, coming around this side. So you have the wraparound threat with a clear pathway in front of you. You could swing really wide and try to make a play here. There's lots of options. If Slaggert comes up with the puck, which he does, he goes for the wraparound, and then you just go to the net. If you're Frank Nazar and Colton Dach, you just go to the net and they score a goal. There, Landon Slaggert gets rewarded for the hard work on that play. Nazar and Dach cause a lot of chaos in front, but that all, to me, really starts with, you know, a little while back. Before that, I didn't show it, but another simple pass, you know, recognizing traffic from Nazar out to the point, and then they enable a cycle from that. Nazar drags some pressure across the net a little bit, opening a little bit of space for Slaggert. Just a really smart systemic thing there that led to a goal for. This is another board battle where Nazar just comes up on the wrong side of it. So it's a collection of things in this. You know, if he lost one or two here and there, I wouldn't be so concerned, and they get scored on. Again, little tiny situations where if you lose a board battle and you don't follow up on that pressure well enough, it can burn you. So again, a little bit more quickness or a little bit more strength, and maybe that goes a different way. It's a little thing, but, you know, on that little play, Nazar paid for it, and I wouldn't highlight it again if it wasn't something that happened a couple of times in this game or a few times. So, wow, that's a hell of a rush from Korchinski there, but that's kind of half of the game is recognizing what is just a thing that happens once and never again, and what is a pattern. And I feel like those little close quarters battles with Nazar are a bit of an issue so far in this game. So this is another example of where Nazar's quick thinking is going to really help him at the next level. This is kind of how I think he's going to need to play in order to be a successful player at this level in the NHL. So you'll notice, I mean, it doesn't really work out, but just a quick puck touch, trying to throw the puck back out in front of the net, and you trust your line mates to come to your rescue here. You know, Nazar doesn't touch the puck for very long here, right? He just gets it off the boards and he tries to throw it back out in front of the net. Slaggert gets to the net, you know, maybe something happens and they get a little bit of a chance here, but just really quick thinking here from Nazar, just continuously trying to get the puck out in front of the net here. He does it twice there, actually. So that's the kind of play that I really want to see out of him based on what I'm seeing as a player in this game. You know, he's not going to dangle through the phantoms in this game, it doesn't seem. He's not going to power his way through the phantoms. He's not going to crunch a guy along the boards and cause a turnover below the goal line. He's not going to blow right through pressure or anything. But what he can do is receive passes really well, make quick thoughts, execute on them quickly, keep possession, and just support everyone else, which to me is a valuable role. I think that's a valuable role to have. And there are lots of players in the NHL that sort of play this way. I would like him to be a bit stronger. I'd like to be a bit harder on the puck there in a few situations. All in all, I mean, I feel like he's been really solid. The smarts are definitely there. And over the years, that's what I've noticed out of Nazar, is just how smart he is. So again, that's another battle that he loses along the boards. I believe that's Adam Yinning, number 37 there, who's not a small boy. But again, if you have a top NHL draft pick that you're expecting is maybe a top 6 center in the NHL, he's lost a lot of battles in this game. He's lost a couple of loose puck battles. He's lost a couple of those sort of rims around the boards, pick off the puck situations. And he's gotten physically beaten a couple of times. Another example of Nazar stitching a play together. Again, it's not the most incredible thing in the world, but I love seeing this out of centers especially. So he's just going to receive the pass here from his defenseman, and he's going to think super quick. He's just going to turn around this way, fire the puck this way, and you've got Colton Dach coming up the ice, and you've got your breakout. So, I mean, Colton Dach seems to be a guy who's bigger and more powerful and can really power his way into the offensive zone. And there's Nazar going for the scoring chance to finish off this rush, right? So a really, really smart idea here from Nazar that almost works out for him. So you'll note Nazar is here. He gets into the offensive zone here, and he's up against 91 again here. And you might make the argument that, sure, he should power his way through here, generate some real speed, and get to the net. But he kind of sneaks around behind and goes to the far post, which is also a very lethal opportunity. So again, he gets past 91 here. 91's coverage kind of falls apart. And you've got a wide open little lane here for Nazar to potentially get a scoring chance, but it goes through the crease and whatever. But again, off the puck, super smart. Keep it simple. Go to the net. Make yourself a target. Good things will happen. And he's been doing that. You know, Nazar makes a quick pass here into the slot to Colton Dach, which great, you know, recognizes the oncoming pressure. Here, though, he tries to get through number 16 with his skill level and his skating on his edges here, and he doesn't really get tripped. He just kind of falls over, tries to kick the puck out, and now you have a 3-on-2 coming the other way. So again, it's another situation where Nazar, I think, is still trying to figure out the limits of his game at this level. And in this situation, I get what he's trying to do, right? Trip up this guy. You know, he's moving back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, trying to get this guy to lapse, cut, you know, and overcommit this way or overcommit this way so he can get around him there or cut in down through the boards. You know, sometimes the best play is just to keep it in the offensive zone. Obviously, hindsight is 20/20 here, but now you've got a rush coming the other way. And that basically only happens because Nazar tried to challenge a player at a scary spot, right? At that blue line. That's where offensive rushes the other way come from, and he caused one. So again, this is another sort of close quarters potential turnover situation that he loses, right? So Nazar not only loses this along the boards here, but the puck gets kicked out into the middle of the ice. You're the center, so get involved, right? Get right in there and do something, and he tries, but he overcommits, and now this guy has a wide open amount of space to get at least a shot on net. So it's a collection of situations where Nazar just hasn't caused turnovers in close quarters, both physically or with his stick, in a number of situations, which in isolation, it's not the end of the world. But I don't think he's caused a turnover stick-wise in this game or with his physical play at this point at all. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure there hasn't been any. And I mean, it's not the end of the world considering what he is bringing to the table and how he has some production in this game. It's just something to keep in mind. That's it for Frank Nazar. I thought this was a really solid game from him. You know, he was a really high first-round draft pick. I am not seeing a guy who I think is going to be sort of an elite NHL center, really. And I feel like there are things in his game that I think will hold him back in the NHL from being that sort of top six dynamic center. But I do think that you can really bet on a player's brains. A guy who sees the ice really well, both with the puck and without the puck. I think Nazar is still in that learning process of, okay, what can I get away with? You know, where can I push the envelope? Honestly, I'd rather see him trying to push his envelope with the puck on his stick than, you know, being really passive and deferring to line mates all the time. But it's just a matter of, if you're going to do that, you're going to need to be a really, really skilled player, or a really, really strong guy, or a really, really fast player, or a combination of multiple of those, in order to do that at the NHL level, right? He wasn't bad in this game at all. I'm not trying to say that at all. 0%. I really love this player. Any really smart puck distributing player like this who just gets the game and plays really well is fine by my books, right? Really, really efficient player, supports his defenseman really well, you know, enables his wingers. You know, he's playing with two bigger guys, you know, who carry a lot of momentum when they get moving, in Colton Dach and Landon Slaggert. And I think that could work for him in the NHL too, right? You find a couple of bigger players or faster, more skilled guys who can work off of him, you know, work those give and goes with him, and he can sort of work more off the puck a lot more. I would like to see him get a little stronger. I think that he lost a few of these battles here and there where I'm kind of wishing they would go his way a little bit more. Guys were establishing body positioning on him a little bit too easily. He wasn't finishing those stick checks and causing turnovers very often. But man, you see some smart stuff out of him, right? Just some basic, he gets it stuff, right? Finding room off the puck, going to the net off the puck, dragging pressure around, especially in the offensive zone. Like, the routes that a player takes with and without the puck can make a huge difference in manipulating your opponent and creating room for your line mates, right? And this is a game that is a team sport. A lot of this comes down to how you play off of your line mates and how you play off of your opponent and how you mess around with your opponent and get them out of position. And there was a few instances of that with Nazar here. But you can see the ingredients are getting there. And I feel like this is a player who was an A+ level junior player and an A+ college player, or at least an A college player. And now he's kind of at a higher level, and it's not quite breaking his way as much, and trying to find that balance point, right? What is my role? What can I do? You know, how can I contribute? And I think that there's a lot of evidence that he could be a good, smart, supportive forward that plays in the middle of Chicago's lineup one day and works off of players who are more flashy, those faster or bigger or more skilled players, but an impressive showing. And if he does get a call up, or if he has gotten a call up by the time this is uploaded, I think he deserves a look. You know, Chicago's not having the best season. They need some help offensively, I think, you know, supporting guys like Connor Bedard and everything. I think he could, you know, take a shot at an NHL gig and see what happens. You got nothing to lose, really. I think he's smart enough. I think if you keep him motivated enough and keep him grounded and sort of go, look, like, you're a give and go guy right now, just make a play, just make something happen, keep possession of the puck, go to the net, you know, do these simple things really well, and you'll be fine. And we can develop all of the other things, the speed, the skill, the strength. You can develop that. You can work on that. It's just, you know, find your role, you know, get comfortable, and see what happens. And I think that that's perfectly reasonable. Do I think he's an NHL everyday player based on this game? I don't think so, but I don't think he's that far off. So good game from Nazar, and this was a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying this series. If you liked it, like the video, definitely subscribe to the channel. I know a bunch of you aren't. Check out all of our other video room videos as well. There's a playlist that you can access where we've done a ton of them already. And if you really like the video, check out Scouching.ca. A subscription will get you access to our Discord server and plenty of other cool goodies like data tables and drafted prospect information and exclusive written content. You'll get early access to my rankings, which are coming out later this week for subscribers, and they'll be released publicly during the live show, which would be Monday the 16th of December, and we'll see you then. We also do live shows on Thursdays at 2 p.m., so come by then and ask your questions if you have any. I'd love to hear what you thought in the comments, so I look forward to seeing you down there. Have a great day. You're great, and we'll see you in the next one.